This is Mac OS Ken.
New Macs, new Apple Silicon, and Apple's headset is finally a thing. It is Tuesday, the 6th of June, 2023. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. Go to hellofresh.com/MOK16 and use code MOK16 for 16 free meals plus free shipping. This show is also sponsored by Issuu, the all-in-one platform to create and distribute beautiful digital content. If the flat PDFs you're putting out are leaving you flat, Issuu can help. Newsletters, magazines, catalogs. Issuu lets you turn those into interactive digital publications and social posts for everyone across a number of platforms. Embed the content on your site, convert it into easy-to-read articles for mobile, send it out to your mailing list, reach your people on Instagram. With Issuu, you can create once and share everywhere. And here's another cool thing. Issuu helps you hit the platforms you're trying to hit with the tools you are already using, folding seamlessly with Dropbox, InDesign, MailChimp, and more. Get started with Issuu today for free, or sign up for an annual premium account and get 50% off when you go to issuu.com/podcast and use promo code MacOSKen. That's ISSUU.com/podcast and use promo code MacOSKen at checkout for your free starter account or 50% off an annual premium account. That's issuu.com/podcast with promo code MacOSKen. The person who answered the question, how do you eat an elephant, never had to tackle an event as big as WWDC on their lonesome. Yeah, I know, poor me. We'll do a little bit of businessy business talk today, then focus largely on hardware, leaving the software side of Apple's offering until tomorrow. Excitement headed into the WWDC23 keynote was palpable, felt keenly among analysts and investors. On Sunday, roughly 24 hours before the keynote, Evercore analyst Amit Daryanani raised his price target on Apple shares, making his one of the highest among his peers. Apple 3.0 ran part of the note he wrote, which was partly focused on Apple's anticipated AR/VR play. Really, though, the story that is Apple is multifaceted in his estimation. Other factors considered in the note included iPhone growth vectors driven by emerging markets, India and beyond, plus replacement cycle dynamics, just how underappreciated Apple services and growth for Apple services are in his estimation, wearables, including the possibility of newness in that category, gross margins and the multiple levers for upside Apple could pull, and a look at how Apple has performed in past recessions. The way Daryanani sees it, Apple remains positioned to sustain mid-single-digit sales and double-digit earnings per share growth over the next several years, with less volatility and high consistency. With multi-billion opportunities on tap for the company, Daryanani is keeping Apple as a top pick. He's maintained his outperform rating on Apple shares and raised his price target from $190 to $210. That $210 is if all goes as expected. His bear case for the shares is $125, with a bull case at $315. It's possible that Mr. Daryanani contributed to Wall Street's excitement, or maybe the smell of the truly new was too tantalizing to resist. Whatever the case, Apple shares hit a new all-time high Monday before WWDC kicked off. 9 to 5 Mac says shares in the Cupertino company hit 183.49. That brought Apple shares up 46% for the year so far. The new high hit ahead of Monday's WWDC Keynote, where it was expected to announce iOS 17, new Macs, and its first mixed reality headset device. All of which it did. 3 new Macs hit the public consciousness on Monday, including one that's been the apple of my eye since rumors of it started circulating some months back. The Cupertino company announced an M2-powered 15-inch MacBook Air. It sports a 15.3-inch liquid retina display to be exact, 6 speakers for immersive spatial audio, a 1080p FaceTime HD camera, MagSafe charging, and it is wafer thin. The new MacBook Air measures only 11.5 millimeters thin, according to Apple, making it the world's thinnest 15-inch laptop. And weighing in at 3.3 pounds, it will not weigh down your satchel. Powered, as I say, by Apple's M2, the company says the 15-inch MacBook Air features a powerful 8-core CPU with 4 performance cores and 4 efficiency cores, a 10-core GPU for blazing fast graphics, and a 16-core neural engine. Bigger screen, better processor, still with decent battery performance. Up to 18 hours, according to the Cupertino company. 3 ports on the outside, 2 USB-C, plus a good old-fashioned 3.5mm audio jack. Those poke holes in 4 finishes: Midnight, Starlight, Space Gray, and Silver. If you want it, here it is. Come and get it. The machine went on order on Monday. It'll be on doorsteps and in stores next Tuesday, the 13th of June. The 15-inch MacBook Air with M2 starts at $1,299 in the U.S. Education buyers can grab one for $1,199. If you feel bad spending so little, there is stuff you can add to jack the price. For example, you can up the unified memory from 8 gigabytes to 16 or 24 gigabytes for an extra $200 or $400 respectively. You can also jack the 256 gigabyte SSD to 512 gigabytes, 1 terabyte, or 2 terabytes for an extra $200, $400, or $800 respectively. Last night, the machine was still showing delivery 1 week from today, in case you're wondering. The 13-inch form factor sticks around in a couple of permutations. First, there's the one with the M2, available in the same 4 finishes. This one starts at $1,099, with education buyers buying for $999. And if it doesn't have to be the latest to be the greatest to you, the 13-inch MacBook Air with M1 stays on the market, available in gold, silver, and space gray. The price on that one dropped Monday to $999, $899 for education purchases. Added to the Apple Silicon line on Monday was Apple's M2 Ultra. According to Apple's processor press release, M2 Ultra consists of 134 billion transistors. Bet you can't count them all. That's 20 billion more than M1 Ultra. Its unified memory architecture supports up to a breakthrough 192 gigabytes of memory capacity, which is 50% more than the M1 Ultra, and features 800 gigabytes per second of memory bandwidth, twice that of M2 Max. M2 Ultra features a more powerful CPU that's 20% faster than the M1 Ultra, a larger GPU that's up to 30% faster, and a neural engine that is up to 40% faster. The release goes on to say the 24-core CPU of M2 Ultra consists of 16 next-generation high-performance cores and 8 next-generation high-efficiency cores, delivering up to 20% faster performance than M1 Ultra. Whatever shall Apple do with it? Power new Mac Studios and Mac Pros. Another press release? Sure, why not? According to that, Mac Studio features M2 Max and the new M2 Ultra, delivering a huge boost in performance and enhanced connectivity in its stunningly compact design. Mac Studio is up to 6 times faster than the most powerful Intel-based 27-inch iMac, and up to 3 times faster than the previous generation Mac Studio with M1 Ultra. I could keep throwing stats at you, but it all just starts to sound like sound after a while, doesn't it? What can you plug into it and how? Featuring a wide array of connectivity within easy reach for pros, Apple says the new Mac Studio now has higher bandwidth HDMI, enabling up to 8K resolution and 240Hz frame rates. With M2 Ultra, Mac Studio supports up to 6 Pro Display XDRs, driving over 100 million pixels, allowing for a vast amount of screen real estate for pro workflows. On the back, Mac Studio includes 4 Thunderbolt 4 ports, a 10 gigabit Ethernet port, an enhanced HDMI port, and 2 USB-A ports. It also conveniently has 2 USB-C ports and an SD card slot on the front to easily import photos and video. Let us now turn our attentions to the big man. While the Intel-based Mac Pro started with an 8-core CPU and could be configured up from there, Apple says every Mac Pro has Apple's most powerful 24-core CPU and up to 76-core GPU, and starts with twice the memory and SSD storage. The new Mac Pro can also be configured with a massive 192 gigabytes of memory with 800 gigabytes per second of unified memory bandwidth. Impressive sounding specs, though the Pro part of the Pro is tied to expandability. According to the release, Mac Pro features 7 PCIe expansion slots, with 6 open expansion slots that support Gen 4, which is 2 times faster than before, so users can customize Mac Pro with essential cards. Great for audio and video nerds. Did I say nerds? I meant pros. Like the new MacBook Air, the new Mac Studio and Mac Pro went on order on Monday, and like the Air, they will waft in next Tuesday, the 13th of June. The Mac Studio starts at $1,999 in the States, $1,799 for EDU buyers. That's for the M2 Max. The M2 Ultra starts at $3,999. Maxing out everything will do a number on that price, and that number is $8,799. Now, pricing on the new Mac Pro is a bit more confusing. The Mac Pro starts at $6,999, $6,599 for education buyers. That's if you want it to stand up. There's a Mac Pro rack enclosure model that's more expensive. That starts at $74.99, $69.99 for education. And yes, you can jack that price so far, though not nearly as far as the Intel-based Mac Pro. According to a piece from 9 to 5 Mac, the top price for the last Intel Mac Pro from 2019 reached $52,599 before adding the option for 8TB SSD storage and more graphics card options. Maxing out the configuration through Apple's site, I can only push the number on the new Mac Pro to $12,199. Okay, that's not completely true. Going for rack-mounted would have added a few bucks. I went for the standing one, though I added the wheels, which are still $400 for some crazy blank reason. That also included the Magic Mouse. Kind of kicking myself for not getting the Magic Trackpad, or I did, until I remembered I'm not actually buying this thing. It's kind of cool, though. Your big money can go into those expansion slots. For those of you keeping score, that does it for the transition from Intel to Apple Silicon. announced during WWDC23. It was a transition that began in late 2020 at one of the heights of the pandemic. Apple said it would make the transition in about 2 years. Took about 2.5. With M2 Ultra powering the new Mac Pro, Apple says the Mac transition to Apple Silicon is now complete, revolutionizing the laptop and desktop experience, fueled by continued innovation in Apple Silicon. It's the beginning of a new era for the Mac. Exciting as all of that may be, we'll take a look at Apple's first truly new product in nearly a decade in a moment. But first, a word from HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. Are you stuck in a recipe rut? Let HelloFresh pull you out of it. They've got 40 recipes you can choose from every week. Even if there are picky people around your table, you are bound to find meals everyone will enjoy. With HelloFresh, you get farm-to-table quality in every box. Seasonal ingredients are picked at peak ripeness and travel from the farm to your doorstep in less than 7 days for fresh flavor in every meal. For me, the ingredients were great. The instructions were easy to follow, and the meals were delicious. See what you can make with HelloFresh. Go to hellofresh.com/MOK16 and use code MOK16 for 16 free meals plus free shipping. That's hellofresh.com/MOK16 and use code MOK16 for 16 free meals plus free shipping. Find out what makes HelloFresh America's #1 meal kit. Use code MOK16 for 16 free meals plus free shipping at hellofresh.com/MOK16. During the WWDC23 keynote, Apple CEO Tim Cook said words he has rarely said in public before. There was, he said, one more thing. Quoting the company's press release, Apple on Monday unveiled Apple Vision Pro, a revolutionary spatial computer that seamlessly blends digital content with the physical world while allowing users to stay present and connected to others. Part of the way it does that is with eyes on the outside. No, I don't mean the cameras that'll let people see the real world over which the digital is laid. It does have those, of course. 12 cameras, according to the company, along with 5 sensors and 6 microphones. There was a rumor that started months ago. Hats off, by the way, to Bloomberg's Mark Gurman. There was a rumor that started months ago that said there would be eyes on the device where eyes would be if you weren't wearing something to cover your eyes. I thought the rumor was ludicrous, and I do think Apple could have cut the price on the device by skipping those. At the same time, you can look at somebody wearing one of these things and know that they're looking at you, or whether maybe they're buried deep in work or content. I always thought that Gurman's talk of productivity apps lacked imagination. Well, maybe, but it is what Apple has gone with. Quoting Apple's press release again, Vision Pro creates an infinite canvas for apps that scales beyond the boundaries of a traditional display and introduces a fully three-dimensional user interface controlled by the most natural and intuitive inputs possible, a user's eyes, hands, and voice. The Wall Street Journal's Joanna Stern got to try the thing out. She said the use of eyes and hands as pointers and clickers was really easy, really quick. As for the view inside the device, Apple says Vision Pro uses micro OLED technology to pack 23 million pixels into 2 displays, each the size of a postage stamp, with wide color and high dynamic range. 2 processors do the heavy lifting, Apple's M2 and the brand new R1. Apple says R1 streams new images to the displays within 12 milliseconds, 8 times faster than the blink of an eye. Speaking of eyes, Apple says users with vision correction needs will use Zeiss optical inserts to ensure visual fidelity and eye tracking accuracy. The thing can take 3D pictures and 3D video. It has 2 speakers near the ears for spatial audio, though you can use a pair of AirPods instead. The company says Apple Vision Pro is designed for all-day use when plugged in, and up to 2 hours of use with its external high-performance battery. Now, all this talk of 3D sort of stinks, since the best most of us could grab was a 2D gander. 3D movies are said to be amazing on the thing. Turning back to the Wall Street Journal's Joanna Stern, she says in her short write-up that she's never really been into 3D movies, and she was surprised how into the 3D clip of Avatar, The Way of Water, she got. As for what the thing looks like, sort of like ski goggles, but bigger and with electric eyes sometimes. When the wearer is deep in content, the outer screen is active, but opaque. It's got a dial on one side for tightening and loosening the headband. It's got a digital crown for controlling how much of the real world is visible to the wearer. It's got a button for snapping those photos and videos I mentioned, and the forward-facing screen indicates when that is happening as well. It's a lot, and it's going to cost a lot, and we'll get to that. Selling the sizzle. Apple CEO Tim Cook is quoted in the press release saying, "Today marks the beginning of a new era for computing. Just as the Mac introduced us to personal computing and iPhone introduced us to mobile computing, Apple Vision Pro introduces us to spatial computing. Built upon decades of Apple innovation, Vision Pro is years ahead and unlike anything created before, with a revolutionary new input system and thousands of groundbreaking innovations. It unlocks incredible experiences for our users and exciting new opportunities for our developers." I talked to a friend of mine about Vision Pro. Longtime Apple fan, this friend of mine. He came away exceedingly bored. I have to say, I understand why he was bored, but I'm not there. Then we only saw the 3D demo in 2D. Being able to walk up to your data, being able to pull your Mac screen into the Vision Pro work field, because that is the thing you will be able to do. Being able to view movies as if they're on a 100-foot screen. Being able to receive 3D images via iMessage, pull them out of iMessage and view those images in 3D. Yeah, my mind is blown. Sorry, spent most of the day overwhelmed by it, on a few levels. First, there's the device itself, then there are the weight and the price. The price, $3,499. When the rumor was $3,000, I was hoping Apple would do what it did with iPad, surprise people with a price significantly lower than what had been rumored. The world had decided Apple's headset was going to cost $3,000. It's going to cost $3,500. And again I say, you got plenty of time to consider that cost. Apple says Vision Pro will be available early next year on Apple.com and at Apple Store locations in the US, with more countries coming later next year. Customers will be able to learn about, experience, and personalize their fit for Vision Pro at Apple Store locations. For more information about Vision Pro, visit apple.com/apple-vision-pro. Now, there is one question I'm looking forward to hearing answered in the days, weeks, and months ahead. While security is built in, Vision Pro does an iris scanning thing. Is it going to support multiple logins for multiple users like the Mac, or one and only like iPhone and iPad? It was also interesting that nothing like virtual reality or the metaverse were mentioned during the keynote. Will that be an avenue open to developers? Speaking of them, a piece from 9to5Mac says developers will have 3 ways to develop and submit apps before Vision Pro makes it to the masses. They can submit AR-enabled apps written for iPhone and iPad and receive a report on performance from Apple. Apple will be hosting in-person developer labs where developers will be able to get hands-on time with the hardware in a controlled environment. And finally, dev kits will be made available, though obviously not to everyone. Nothing concrete on that right now. 9to5Mac says details are expected in the coming weeks. And what was Wall Street's reaction to Apple's big event? Monday afternoon, Fortune ran a piece under the headline, Apple just revealed its biggest new product category in years, and its stock price dropped. Because it did. I told you that shares Monday hit an all-time high of 183.49. Turns out that was only an all-time high for a bit. The Fortune piece says shares actually got as high as 184.90 before giving that back and then some. Shares ended the day at 179.58, down about 1%, according to the report. Maybe it was Vision Pro's high price. Maybe it was the long wait. Maybe it was a lack of AI talk at the event. TF International analyst Ming-Chi went on a tear on Twitter on Sunday, basically saying investors don't care about AR. What they care about is AI. Maybe it was that. Or maybe it was just profit-taking. What's funny is, while Apple shares may have fallen, at least some investors were turned on by what they heard. According to a short piece from MarketWatch, shares of Unity software popped more than 11% Monday after Apple announced that it was working with the game development company on its new Vision Pro headset. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and sponsored by Issue. Get 50% off an annual premium account with code macOSKen at issuu.com/podcast. This show is also sponsored by HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. Go to hellofresh.com/MOK16 and use code MOK16 for 16 free meals plus free shipping. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. Info at macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. Software news from WWDC tomorrow and likely a lot of reaction. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
We truly live in an age of wonders.